me in the show.
Okay. What would you like to do?
I'd love to do Clockwork Angels because I really love Rush and Neil Peart. And did you know I got to see them in concert for the Time Machine tour? And
For you, I'm thinking Sovereign. Enjoy the show. So, to start all this off, great googly moogly, there's only one! Well, let's do the only Marvel Now release of this week, Daredevil #1, by Mark Waid and Chris Samnee. Okay, I really haven't picked up a Daredevil comic since, I think Shadowlands. So, how did that feel jumping in? Well, it's great. It does show Daredevil's abilities and Billy Club off very well. But it felt really off for me because it started with Matt Murdock inside a police station, being handed clues to find this girl. And I was nearly floored because that kind of means that now that his secret's known, is he a full-time hero or what's going on there? But then at the end, he's apparently opening a law office with some chick because Foggy is once again dead. Air quotes there. But according to the best comic book group of all time, this is really me just being more confused about it than I should, because the last series did have him coming clean under oath that he was Daredevil, and he moved to San Francisco to continue his career as a lawyer, while still being Daredevil on the side. But the story itself is actually really well done, with some nice writing by Mark Waid, and the art by Chris Samnee, and colors by Javier Rodriguez just fit the Daredevil character so well. The new setting works very well. I'd say pick it up and maybe read the final story in the last one just as a backstory to the surprisingly good Marvel first issue. And now it's time to take the hoodie off it.
no, I won't talk about that abomination of a comic. I want to talk about something good. So you just lay there in a pool of what I assume is your consciousness. I got this. This is JELLO Hijacks, and let's get to just awesomeness. This is Clockwork Angels #1, the first in a 6-issue miniseries. Clockwork Angels is a collaboration between longtime friends Neil Peart and Kevin Anderson, and an artist, Nick Robles. Why does Neil Peart sound familiar? Well, you may have known him from a little band called Rush. Yeah, this comic is at the very least inspired by the album, and boy did Boom Studios did a great work. This comic is sure to be a huge hit, at least among Rush fans. In fact, I'm sure the first one has made a huge splash in the world of music, comics, and just media in general. The story itself is a memory, it would seem, recounted by and followed by one young Owen Hardy, an imaginative young lad who's nearing manhood. Owen grew up just like any of the others in his village, under the complete and total control and planning of the watchmaker. But this wasn't good enough for Owen. Owen needed to get out and see it all beyond. Have a little unpredictability and excitement in his life. So one night he jumps a steamliner and leaves his village behind. The comic is visually stunning. The colors, the artwork, and the tones, not to mention all the covers. The environmental or worldly theme is sort of steampunk with a mix of alchemy and fantasy. The story is absolutely investing. The characters are exactly what they need to be. Owen being unique in his own way, his fiancée almost robotic and naggy, and everyone else in the village completely fine with their lives being planned, down to the very last second, by the watchmaker. The peddler, in his subtle wisdom and seeming to know much more than he ought to. The anarchist we hear about, who sounds like just what his name would seem to be, and we hear about him on like TV or radio or something. And of course, the watchmaker, who is described in several different lights. Oppressive, loving, always on time, never wrong. It would appear he does not even like change at all, even going so far as to create a sort of potion to give a dog for life for walks and such. Oh, and his mother, who we only hear about, we don't know if she's dead or alive, gone, or just, but she sounds a lot like Owen. I love that the comic ended on what looked like to be a file on Owen, which looked like it was going to be small, then ended up expanding out into a long file. I love what this comic had to say about order and expectation, about life and imagination, predictability and excitement. I love what the key characters had to represent. I love the art, the writing, and the inspiration. My suggestion? Definitely at least buy it and trade. Listen to the Clockwork Angels album while you read this. Maybe even collect it. But definitely read it. Alright, he's still unconscious, so I'm just gonna do the rest of the show. No. 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 I am the night!
Ah. 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 Oh. Oh. Son of a... Crazy dame came at me like a Katy Perry... No. Wait, a dark horse. Wait, dark horse. Crap. I ain't got time to bleed. There's reviewing to be done. Next up is Dark Horse Comics, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 10, Number 1, by Christos Gage and Rebecca Isaacs. For anyone under a rock, there's this franchise called Buffy the Vampire Slayer. It was pretty big back in the day, and even cemented Joss Whedon as a relatively household name. Even less known that after Season 7 ended, this series began an official continuation in ComicSins. Well, clearly this is the first issue of Season 10, and even though I have no clue what the hell is going on in the world, I could care less. Now, hold on. For anyone wondering, this is very, very, very much in tune with the show. Sure, there's a bit of an age to the characters from when the show ended, since, 2 other seasons has happened since then. But they feel like natural progressions of the characters. Plus, and I'll give out one small spoiler just to get you really wondering about this, Giles is a Harry Potter-esque kid. That is all. The art is give or take with me. It's not bad, but I just wish there was a bit more feel for the real in it. But otherwise, go on to Netflix or Hulu or somewhere and watch this, and then buy the DVDs. Yes, I once owned every season of Buffy on DVD. I have yet to read Season 9, so, well, be surprised. I know a lot of people are going to be surprised considering my dislike for Whedon's solo writing and what he did in Avengers, but overall, pick this up if you're a fan. If not, become a fan and pick it up. So, let's keep riding this dark horse with The Witcher, number 1 of 5, scripted by Paul Tobin and art by Joe Carrio. Yes, there's video games based off the character, but he's so much more than that. TV series, book series. This may sound funny, but he really is big overseas. So, only natural that The Witcher gets a comic from Dark Horse. And actually, this is pretty good. We get a grasp of who Geralt the Witcher is. He gets a pretty decent companion for the adventure, who has an interesting backstory and never really feels out of place. Though there is a minor pair of hag boobs and swearing, so it's not going to be for everyone, though I'd say that it's a softer maturity than Game of Thrones. So take that as it is. Give it a read if you're a fan of dark fantasy. Otherwise, I'd wait until the miniseries has ended before reading it overall. Finally, the title that may have led to a JELLO nervous breakdown, that happens more often than they should, Image's Sovereign Number 1 by Chris Roberson and Paul Mayberry. See, I can see why this pissed her off. I really can. First off, I don't think I've really done this yet, so I'd like to point out, my negativity is never towards the creator, unless it feels like it's truly their fault. First off, I think Paul Mayberry's art is just this side of really bad. You can tell what's going on for the majority of the time, but it just visually is unappealing and even hinders the story when there's this scene, okay, where this blobby thing comes out of the water to attack a ship. It looks like, and I'm going to try and be PG here, like a zombie scrotum. They try shooting cannonballs at it, but they say that it isn't even slowed down, but we don't see the sack moving at all. So then it's apparently attacking the ship, and this one woman yells, "Sever the neck, sever the neck." And what do you know? Now the thing has a sharp-shaped penis sticking out of it. When the smart guy says, "Oh, it's a finback," I'm just screaming bull and want to throw it against the wall. And it's in my laptop. So that says a lot. But the writing, okay. This book has several different chapters dealing with several different characters, possible time periods. I'm not really sure how it works, but is this supposed to be an anthology? Because as a collection, the events are so disjointed from one another, as well as bland, that really there's nothing to make you want a second one. Had this been a graphic novel and all these stories were doing a cloud atlas or something, and it didn't end a sheer meh, then it might have been good. I can't even say look at it because of the shoddy art. So ignore it. It's not something to get riled up about until someone gives it a passing grade, really. Most likely it's designed for the long haul, but yeah, ignore it for right now. Okay, really hoping DC and Vertigo gets this taste out of my mouth. Hoodie, activate! Well, there's only one DC first issue this week, and that's a Vertigo comic. So really, there's no DC, but the Vertigo imprint has American Vampire Second Cycle #1 out, written by Scott Snyder and Raphael Albuquerque. American Vampire is already widely acclaimed for its stunning visuals, phenomenal storytelling, and rich characters. Well, honestly, this isn't so much a sequel to the series as the second part of a planned break, according to Snyder. So, frankly, I can't with any good conscience say buy this amazingly written, superbly drawn comic without checking out the first half. But if you need an issue to see if you'd be even remotely interested in the series, then this is a perfect jumping on point. I'm even jumping onto American Vampire's bandwagon after reading this issue. So pick it up if you're interested. Now it's time to check out the Flashback Firsty issue of this month. This is a review for Tom Zilla, who guessed last week's end credit song. And for the Zilla, we're doing Godzilla Half-Century War #1 from IDW Publishing, written and drawn by James Stokoe. I've known Godzilla all my life. And I'm not talking about the mediocre Godzilla that came out in '98. I mean the big, scaly buttercup himself. Gojira, king of the monsters. Actually, one of my personal favorite movies as a kid was King Ghidorah, where you had all the iconic kaiju fighting. But that's where my 2-decade obsession with Godzilla really hit home, and where one day I will do an archives on Godzilla. One day. One day. So, alright, reviewing a comic. Okay. Well, the first issue is actually pretty nifty. The Half-Century War in the title refers to how long Japan, and very much so the world, has been at war with Godzilla, through the eyes of someone who's served as a member of the armed forces throughout that. This one deals with our protagonist, Oda's first meeting with Godzilla, circa his first appearance in 1954, with every issue taking roughly a decade ahead of time each time. The art is very mixed. There's a level of great detail in the buildings and monsters throughout the 5-part mini, but the faces seem to be a bit more cartoony. But it's not really a problem for me personally. I think it adds a bit more to the characters and the surroundings as we follow Oda throughout his life. Get this series. I think it's out in trade, but if it's not, get it as soon as possible. It belongs on the shelf of any Godzilla fan. And if you are a die-hard Godzilla fan, then I'd definitely say hunt down all 5 of these issues. And with that, That's all for this week. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, idle chatter, suggestions even, check out The Archivist on Facebook or leave a comment below. I'm The Archivist, signing out. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do.